Hey, everybody, and welcome to our show. My name is Rich Sharp, and this is our weekly show. We call it Tournament Horse Racing. It's brought to you by Broke Guys Handicapping, and here's how it works. We've broken the horse racing calendar into four separate tournaments. Each tournament consists of approximately 10 racing days. We pick four races on each of those racing days, and then we kind of compete against each other for prizes. They're actually kind of heading back here on the back shelves. We've got four horse players, and each player is going to make a $2 mythical win place bet in each of those four races that day. We measure return on investment or ROI. So the horse player with the highest ROI after four races will win that race day, and the horse player with the highest overall ROI after 10 weeks, well, that's the winner of the tournament. At the end of the year, we're going to have four individual tournament winners, and we actually have one year-end champion that's based on total ROI for the entire year. And with that, I don't want to keep talking too much. I wanted to let you know how the tournament works, and it's time to really introduce you to our horse players. I'm not going to go in time zone order. I'm actually going in tournament standing order because we're going into the very last tournament or last racing day of our first tournament of the year. And in first place out there, originally, he was at the halfway post. Ray was just dusting the rest of us. Now, as we're coming around the far turn, he's on a little bit of tired legs. Someone's closing in on him from behind, but it is my good friend Ray Torado. He's out there in Staten Island, New York. He's representing the East Coast for us in this tournament. Ray, how have you been?
Good. How you guys been? Good to see you guys. I'm holding on to dear life here the last week, but let's see
Absolutely,
how it
yeah.
goes.
You're about to see the standings. I know you guys
I
haven't
gotta
actually had
pick
a chance to
winners.
take a look at those yet, but you'll see them in just a few minutes here. I'm going to come out back here to the West Coast. I'm going to introduce you to my neighbor to the south, and he's coming to us from Temecula, California. This is our next analyst. He's also a good friend of mine, Joe English. How have you been, my friend?
I'm good, Rich. Thanks. How you guys doing? Ready for two shows tonight?
Two shows tonight. Absolutely. Two shows tonight. Thank you for mentioning that, Joe. We will actually come back and do a second one. I'll bring that up right at the end when we conclude. And last but not least, I mentioned someone is trying to chase down Ray. That is actually my good friend Steve Newsom. He's the last analyst here for this show. He's to my north. He's in Menifee, California. Steve, how have you been?
I'm pretty good. I guess I'm like a shark. I smell blood in the water right now.
There we go. There we go. I
Yeah,
love it.
got
I
Ray's
love
limping
it.
home.
He's gonna vacuum the floor with you, Ray. Look at that. Got the
Uh,
vacuum in the background. He can
I
vacuum the floor with you.
I
Oh,
hear
oh yeah.
footsteps. Oh, I hear footsteps.
Yep. Watch
Wait,
out.
let me turn behind. See who's coming.
Objects
That's just
in the mirror are closer than they
May
appear.
appear.
the jockeys do
Absolutely.
that, right? So keep looking behind.
All right, and folks, a reminder just before we get into our handicapping, Joe, Ray, Steve, and myself, we're all friends. We do the show for fun, and we try not to take ourselves too seriously. Kind of obvious already, isn't it? We are not a touting service, and we're not recommending picks. We're certainly not selling our picks in these races. We're just horse players. We love our sport, and we enjoy competing against each other for fun. We hope you do as well. And with that, I will, before I go ahead and turn on my sharing screen like that way you guys can see it, I kind of mentioned some people that might be behind me and things like that. This is our final show of the very first tournament of the year. It's called the Preps. So it's the Preps for the Kentucky Derby. So we've been on so I'll going back to January. I'll pick that up again for you here in a second. But just so you know, the trophies are back here. Actually, you can see one of them is actually here. I don't know if anybody can see who that is, but you'll have to wait and maybe come back for our first episode of the actual Triple Crown series. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll be off next week. We'll come back to start off our Triple Crown week. And at that point in time, I will tell you who won this first one and who got that bobblehead that you just saw that was kind of hanging out back there. So we use bobblehead trophies. As a matter of fact, I know it might not be obvious, but we actually have a donation from one of our analysts who put it on here. That's actually going to be the prize for the Triple Crown series. It's a little bit different than our normal one. So again, let me go ahead and I'm going to start sharing my screen. I will show you what happened last week. That way you get an idea as to where we're going here. And then we will go ahead and start taking a look at this week, which is a really special show. We've actually got three different tracks that we're covering as part of the tournament. And as Joe mentioned earlier, you might have heard, we'll come back and we'll do our own special show. We call it Pick Four Wars, and you'll see how that one works as well. So we are starting off. You know what? I'm going to need to clear out my tracks here for you guys. We are going to be at Aqueduct Keeneland and Santa Anita racetrack today. Last week we were split between Gulfstream Park and and Oaklawn Park for the Arkansas Derby. And as you can see there, Steve Newsom, I believe that was his fourth victory on the year. Squeezes it out with a $17.20 victory. He noses me out there. I came in second with $12. And what we'll do is we'll take a quick look at what the summary for the quarter looks like. I'm correct, Steve. You do have 4 victories on the season. And as you see there, you've pulled within $10.30 of Ray going into our final race of the season. I will tell you, folks, that lead was probably about $60 at one point in time for Ray over Steve. As you can see, it's still really bad for Joe and Rich as we're going into a full long year of this. Don't forget, these totals are going to carry over until the end of the year, so we do have a year-end winner who gets a prize as well. Ray, again, you're on the lead. Steve closing in from behind. Me and Joe are going to compete for third place. Joe, do you know what the prize is for third place in the first round tournament?
I'm afraid to ask, actually, but
Probably the same price as this for second.
No, that's going to be the person who gets to talk crap all the way home tomorrow from the racetrack at from Santa Anita Racetrack, because that's where me and Joe are going tomorrow. We will be at Santa Anita Racetrack for the Santa Anita Derby. Kind of a little bit of tradition for us. I think we both got numerous shirts from there.
somehow I think it's going to be a quiet ride.
It'd be a quiet ride, yeah. You know, as far as third place is concerned. All right, so that's what it looks like going into the finale. Those are our trophies. They're back there for you and things like that. We'll start revealing those in a couple of weeks. And unless anybody has any concerns or any questions, we are going to go ahead and we're going to start off at Aqueduct Racetrack. So again, this is going to be Aqueduct that we'll be looking at. I am going to go ahead and bring up the racing forms. We are starting off in race number 8. They're going 1 mile and 1/8. It's the Wood Memorial Stakes. It's presented by Resorts World Casino. Grade 2 purse is $750,000 for 3-year-olds only. And your morning line favorite is out there in post number 5, Morello, trained by Steven Asmussen and ridden by Jose Lozcano, is 8-5 on the Aqueduct morning line. Ray, we're in your backyard. Ray, you're on the lead. Ray, guess what? You're going first.
All right. Let's see. With Memorials, the 100-point race. I would guess that the first 2 will be going to the Derby, right?
Yep.
So looking forward to that. I'm actually on the number 3 horse, Early Voting. I've been on this horse for a few months actually, since his last race, and he won the Withers in pretty good fashion. He went the 1 mile and 1/8. The track was kind of slow, but he put up a good figure. He won pretty convincingly. He was cleared by 3 lengths the whole race, and that got me, on this horse, just following him. A little concerned that he did miss the Gotham on March 5th, but maybe that was planned. I'm not sure. He's been working out pretty good, so he might still be in form. So I'll go with Early Voting to be on the lead, and hopefully he can go all the way with Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz.
All right, I'm assuming
Steve?
I'm up next, huh?
Yeah, Steve, go next, yeah.
All right, I'm good. I'm going a little off the reservation too. I'm going with the 8, Parisi. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not.
Probably pretty close.
Yeah, Boris, yeah, probably.
Michael Maker and Dylan Davis are winning at 27%. Horse is undefeated. Looks like it continues to improve its speed numbers there. So, yeah, I'm looking for a continuous improvement with this horse.
Joe, because you are actually in third right now, you're going to get to have first shot at this one over me.
All right, since it's funny because normally I would not want to do this, but I would normally stay away from the favorite in a contest like this. But I watched Morello and I watched him win last out in the Gotham, and honestly, he could not have been more impressive. I know it's 8-5, and I know this is doing something he hasn't done before. He hasn't gone 2 turns, but he's undefeated locally. And the other reservation I had is that he doesn't need the points. He got 50 for winning the Gotham, so he doesn't necessarily need to win to get into the Derby. If he basically runs in the top 3, he's almost guaranteed. He may even be guaranteed even if he doesn't. But like I said, I just thought he was real impressive last time. I think he's just going to sit off of early voting, and he's going to get first run. And if he can handle the 2 turns and being by Classic Empire, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. So again, it's not my favorite pick, and normally in a contest, if I thought I had a chance to win overall, I'd probably go in a different direction, but I don't think I do. So I'm going to just stick with the favorite. I'll take 8-5 on Morello if I can even get that.
And for me, I'm actually going to end up here on the 1 horse. I went with Mo Donegal. This is Todd Pletcher and Joe Rosario. And again, and Uncle Mo. The horse actually, had a little win streak, won his maiden special weight, and then wins the Remsen, and then finishes third. Not bad horses to finish by. That's White Abario and Simplification. I believe they're both going to the Kentucky Derby, and I think Mo Donegal might be punching his ticket today as well. I'm not certain he can win this race. Morello does look very very good. But I'm going to go with Mo Donegal. I've got the 1. Up for us. And let's keep on moving. And we're actually going to, even though we've got a couple of tracks that are out there on the East Coast, so this is out of time order. I think we are saving the best for the last here in this particular circumstance. We're going to go ahead and sidle out to Santa Anita Racetrack. That's where Joe and I are going to be. In case you didn't hear us a little bit earlier, for race number 6. This is Santa Anita Derby. They're going a mile and 1/8 on the main track. It is the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby. It's a grade 1. The purse is $750,000. It's for 3-year-olds only. And your morning line favorite is out there in post number 4, trained by Tim Yakteen and ridden by John Velasquez. Messier is the even money favorite out here in Santa Anita. And Ray, even though we're out here in my backyard, and that's where me and Joe are going to be tomorrow, you're still going first.
All right. Small field here of 6 for this race. Originally, I mean, I know if you go back a month or whatever, Forbidden Kingdom was the king of, the class of the West Coast 3-year-olds. But I don't know. Lately, I think they're probably catching up to him. But I'm gonna go with Messier. Um, I was he looked pretty good last time in the Lewis. He drew away. He finished off strong, and that's my my intention for this horse. Going mile and eighth, another eighth of a mile, 16th of a mile. He get back to back, 100 figures in the Biznats, and he won pretty easily last time by 15. But the reason why I am betting this horse is because he did beat Forbidden Kingdom in the Bob Hope, and I was torn between the 2. So I figure if he really beat him, sprinting, he could probably beat him going long. And so I'll go with Messi. I know he's the favorite, but just trying to get wins here and trying to get some dollars because I think the last few weeks I've gotten 0. So that's why people are catching me. So I'm gonna just try and pick the best horse I think is gonna win this race. So I'll go with Messi with Johnny B.
All right,
Steve.
Steve. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with one of the other Yakatine horses. I'm going to go with the 6.
Nice.
Taiba, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody's guess?
Something. Anyway. Yeah. So go with this horse. Won 1 race, by 7.5 lengths. Good speed figure there. I expect this horse will probably make a run for it. At 4-1, I figure get better odds than the other 2. The other 2 front runners. So yeah, thought I'd go here with the 6.
Not to get off topic, but I mean, for God's sakes, you pay $125,000 to breed the gun runner, and they sell for $1.7 million. I get to go next.
That's a nice turnaround.
Yeah,
Can we do that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a breeder. 1.7 million. Wow.
I did initially have Messier. That performance in the Bob Lewis was just so impressive. I will obviously switch away. I'll go with Forbidden Kingdom. I'll slouch down and go ahead and go with Richard Mandela and the winner of the San Felipe, and that horse looked absolutely fantastic. It's one of those myracehorse.com horses, by the way, guys. Joe English, hint, hint. We would love to see who your horse is at some point in time. But Forbidden Kingdom is going to be my choice here. A number of reasons. The horse has actually got great pace presence up there in the front. California horses on the turf has already been proven at 2 turns, stretching out a little bit longer. Doesn't look like his daddy had any problem stretching out any longer. I thought this is an American Pharaoh, and looks like Richard Mandela might have himself a Derby horse for this year as well. So I'll go with Forbidden Kingdom.
Yeah, it's funny, Rich. I'm on this. I'm on Forbidden Kingdom as well, and I trust Mandela. He doesn't need to clog the entry box with 3 or 4 or 9 or however many horses he got. If he gets one good one, he knows what to do with one. I mean, he hasn't won a Derby yet, but I'm sure that day, hopefully that day is coming before too long. But it's funny because Ray was talking about Messier and you did as well. And the only thing I was wondering about, well, it's 2 things really. One, we saw what happened to Doppelganger when he went to Arkansas when he switched from Baffert to Tim Yachtine. And I think that's really the only example we have of any horses that went from one to the other, and it just wasn't the same. So that was one thing with Messier. The other thing is, it's like it had something to do with what was going on with Baffert. I'm assuming. Why didn't he run against Forbidden Kingdom in the in the race in between? Why has he taken 2 months off and not run? And Ray mentioned it with early voting. Same thing in the Wood Memorial. I just wonder if that was planned, if it was just a legal thing because they weren't sure what was going to go on with Baffert, so they weren't sure what they were going to do. But he's had a little bit of time off, and Rich mentioned Forbidden Kingdom was unbelievable in the San Felipe last out, and he beat Doppelganger like a stable mule. And obviously, Doppelganger again did not run very well in Arkansas, so it really doesn't flatter Forbidden Kingdom. But I think he's going to be in front of Messier, at least because he drew inside. I don't think he really has a choice. I think they're going to have to go. I think he's going to have to be in front, and Messier is going to have to run him down. And maybe he's just a little fitter than Messier. It's his 3rd race in the cycle. So I mean, 6-5 even money. You're not going to pay the mortgage today with either of those horses. So unless somebody who's 20-1 wins this race, I would expect one of the favorites to win. So one of the four of us probably will have the winner. At least one of the 4 of us. But again, I went with Forbidden Kingdom. It's kind of an anti-Messier choice there.
All right. And we are going to move along to our last 2 races in this 4-race sequence for this particular tournament. I think I tried to save like the dessert for the end here, the 2 best races, at least that I could see. And we are heading all the way down to Lexington. We're going to go to Keeneland Racetrack in Kentucky. And we are going to start with race number 8. They're going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. This is the Shakertown Stakes. It's a grade 2 purse. It's $350,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, and your morning line favorite is out here in post number 10. We've actually seen this horse once before. His name is Golden Pal. He's trained by Wesley Ward. He's ridden by Irad Ortiz, and he is 4 to 5 on the Keeneland morning line. And look at that. We've gone from New York to California to Kentucky. Ray, you're still going first.
Man, we have a plane with a lot of gas because we are circling the country tonight. Golden Pal's an amazing horse. He ran last year. Tremendous. I mean, we go 3 out of 4. Won the Breeders' Cup very impressively. But this is the start of a new year. Off a layoff. I think he's a little vulnerable. If you don't like Golden Pal, then this race is wide open, really. So I went a little bit off the reservation. I went to a little long shot here. Number 5, Gear Jockey with Brian Hernandez, trained by George Arnold. He's also coming off a little small layoff. He ran in February in the Gulfstream. off last time before the Breeders' Cup. He kind of flattened out, but he ran a decent race, and I think he'll improve off of that. He has won the Keeneland before, so this race has a lot of speed. If Golden Power can get loose, he might be tough, but I think they could pressure him. So Gear Jockey could come off the pace, and he has shown he can close in these sprints. So Brian Hernandez knows the course pretty well. So I'm gonna go with Gear Jockey at 10-1.
All
Steve,
right, this is one where I don't know.
tough
Yeah,
race. Yeah.
I went with a 1. I looked at so many horses today. I don't remember why. Chessmaster, 20-1. Had a nice 4 furlong workout.
I thought it might be a race worthy of the all button myself. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
On turf, the horse has got 10 wins on turf. 20 races. Same thing at the distance. Very, likes the distance, likes the turf. So.
all right, Mr. English, we're back to you.
Yeah, if you don't like the favorite, the all button wouldn't have been a bad way to go. But
Yeah,
it's funny. I ended up on the same horse as Ray. I'm on Gear Jockey for a lot of the same reasons. And the other thing is, the other thing he mentioned, and I will mention because we haven't really discussed it yet, because this might be the only track that it is an issue. I know there was a chance of rain today. There is also a very good chance. Well, I shouldn't say a good chance, but it was about 50-50 that it was going to rain tomorrow. So I think having a horse who'd be able to handle some moisture in the ground or some soft ground would be a good thing. And he did win. He won at Keeneland last time over good ground, and he was able to win even at what's the track, Kentucky Downs, that generally doesn't always have a firm turf course. Um, there usually is some give in it. So, like I said, I just ended up on. I just didn't want to become a chalk eating weasel and take favorite after favorite after favorite. So again, just like Ray, I ended up on Gear Jockey the 5 at 10-1.
And I did not go with the favorite myself. As a matter of fact, I ended up on a horse. You have that prejudice for horses who have won you money earlier, and this one fits the bill. I did hit this race. This was back at Kentucky Downs. I think it got me off to a good start in the Breeders' Cup Series that Joe eventually tracked me down and won it. But the Learjet comes over from overseas. He has raced in the United States before. It's always at Keeneland that they put him here on the turf here at Keeneland. And he does, although it was way, way back in June of 2020, he does have a victory over Golden Pal. So he's beaten him once before. And you've heard me before. I do like to go further east as far as my turf horses are concerned. And if I got to cross the pond for that, then so be it. So I've got the 6. Second. All right, and that's going to go ahead, and that's going to take us to our finale for the first show tonight. And again, this is the final race of the opening tournament of Tournament Horse Racing. It's brought to you by Broke Eyes Handicapping. And again, we've covered now approximately 40 races, and this will be the last one for this tournament. We're going to take a break next week. We will be coming back in 2 weeks, and we will start right again fresh with the Triple Crown Series. But this is race number 9. Again, we're at Keeneland Racetrack down there in Lexington, Kentucky. They are going 1.1 miles on the main track. This is the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. It is a Grade 1. Purse is $1 million. Your morning line favorite is out there in post number 10. That is Smile Happy, trained by Kenneth McPeak and ridden by Corey Lannery. He's 9-5 on the Keeneland morning line. And once again, as Ray mentioned earlier, thanks for reminding me about that, Ray. This particular race is worth 100 Kentucky Derby points to the winner, 50 to second place. And again, Ray, take us home. What do you like in the Bluegrass?
All right. Big field. This is probably one of the biggest fields I've seen in the preps. 12 horses. It's pretty wide open on that, or from what I find. Keeneland is always a beautiful track to run your horses to preps, and even if they don't win, they get good experience on the like the Kentucky dirt, whatever you want to call it, to run in the Derby. So I've seen some La Rosa Bluegrass come back and win the Derby. I went with number 6, Emmanuel for top Pletcher. Louis Sires stays aboard. You know, he broke his main pretty impressively in December. Went to Tampa, an optional claiming race. The 9 was a 1, and had no problem with that race. Stepped him up in the Fountain of Youth, and you know, had a little, to say it was wide, weakened a little bit. You know, first time against state horses, and a little experience there. Size, I like the fact that Size stays aboard. He might be looking to that might be his Derby horse hopefully. And Ty's gonna have him ready. Been working out good in Palm Beach. So Windstar Farms, they've been in the Derby picture before. I believe with a Super Saver, I think it was. So Emmanuel for me, he's gonna get a good trip. He should be near or close to the lead. Based on his 96 2 races ago, he does fit here. So I mean, he was still at the top of the stretch, and Father Youth just weakened a little bit. So, I give him a shot. Forgiveness for me, for Manuel. Hopefully, this horse can bring me home to win the first tournament.
Something tells me it's going to come down to this race, but
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Steve.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm going with the 4. Probably to no surprise to anybody.
yeah, it took my
Six.
comments off there. I swear to God, the comments before said if Steve doesn't bet this horse, we're closing down the show. There's nothing else.
Oh man, I could have done a shot.
Yeah.
Ah, maybe
Yeah,
try to have two
no, of
Derby
course, got
horses, huh?
Flavian Pratt and Chad Brown there. Uh, they normally pair up nicely. There's no stats on that though. But yeah, horses had a nice string of workouts, very consistent. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the 4 here.
Zandon.
Zandon.
We'll stay right there. One of the best trainers in the country, one of the best riders in the country. Zandon won his first there at Belmont Stakes, so came right out and won right away. They put him, they ramped him right up to the Remsen, which was a grade 2 back in December. An 8-horse field. He was favored. He got beat by Mo Donegal. We saw Mo Donegal over there in the Wood Memorial earlier, and just got beat by a nose. And then took a little bit of a layoff, just a couple of months off. Comes back in the Risen Star, finishes third, so not the greatest performance, but considering that one of those horses is Epicenter, uh, one of the preliminary Kentucky Derby favorites, and Smile Happy, who is also in this race. So I decided to go with Zandon, and thinking that the hopping at the start and running 5 wide before he leveled off might have had something to do with the fact that he finished third behind Smile Happy. That's the only horse I'd be worried about in this particular race, but I stuck with the 4 as well. Joe, take us home in the final race of the opening.
Unfortunately, I won't have to say very much because I ended up again. There's no way I'm ever going to catch Ray anyway, but so I might as well take his horses.
Okay.
I ended up on Emmanuel as well. Again, we don't discuss this beforehand, obviously. He wasn't wide. He was ridiculously wide last time out. And obviously the race had this, had the spill. And like you mentioned, Saez stays aboard and he drew better this time. He should not be.
Oh yeah, so
He should
yeah.
really not be as wide as he was last time.
Yeah.
But the other thing is he needs points to get into the Derby. So it's now or never for this guy tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you recall last spring at Keeneland, the combination was Pletcher and Saez. I believe if I looked at my stats, like they were 4 out of 7 there last spring. And at Keeneland, just in general, over the last 5 years, like 10 for 22, which is again ridiculously, 45%. But again, he was, like Ray said, he was wide. He should benefit from that race. And again, he's going to need every point he can get. He's going to need to run one, probably 1-2. He's up against it. Smile Happy and Zen, and they're good horses, coming from running behind Epicenter in Louisiana. So obviously, they are quality horses too. But I gotta trust Pletcher and hope that this horse can at least benefit a little bit and get up in the second and get the 50 points he needs to get to the Derby. So Emmanuel for me.
One of his 100 he has running in the
Mhm.
3-year-old preps.
Absolutely.
He's got them all over.
Take a quick look, guys. We're getting close to the end. Do those look correct for you guys?
Yeah.
I don't have the races over here for us.
In the 5th race, I take the 7, so I can have a straight.
5.
Polka, baby.
Get that. All right.
Yeah, no, I guess we're good.
Looks good.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let me let's see.
All good.
I believe I have a couple of minutes here. Let me go ahead and I will bring up very quickly for everybody who's watching and who is sharing a screen with us right now. I've mentioned it several times. This is our final episode for the very first tournament of the year. We just completed 10 racing days. I'm kind of excited to see who's going to win this one, as Steve tries to track down Ray here and deep in the stretch. But as you take a look at my screen here, we will take next week off. Next Friday, it's one of the analysts' birthdays. I can't remember which one it is, but it's a birthday weekend, so we're not going to be back on the air next weekend. We will take a break and back on April the 23rd for the start of what we call the Triple Crown Series. And we're going to start at Oaklawn Park. I will fill these in a little bit better, but you can see there's basically one race at least that's highlighted there. I believe you've got the Apple Blossom there for Oaklawn Park. We'll come back on the 30th for Santa Anita Racetrack for the Californian. On May the 7th, the first Saturday in May, we'll be at the Kentucky Derby for Churchill Downs. May 14th, Belmont Park. They've got the Man of War Stakes that day. 2 weeks after the Derby, of course, is the Preakness. And then Broke Guys Handicapping will take a little bit of a break. We'll come back. We have never done Evangeline Downs before. That's actually one of the reasons that you don't see any top races in there. I'll fill that in. I'll make sure I get that set up for us all. Before we come back, 3 weeks after the Preakness is the Belmont Stakes at Belmont Park. After that, we'll be there at Monmouth for the Monmouth Stakes. Again, we'll come right back to Belmont Park because they've just got so much good summer racing there for the Mother Goose. And then we'll finish it off on 4th of July, right before the 4th of July weekend at Churchill Downs with the Stephen Foster Handicap. So, go ahead.
Next Friday, for those of you who are interested, next Friday is also Good Friday.
There we go. Good Friday.
Mhm.
Passover.
So nice that every week you got a good, solid race to look forward to.
I agree. Yeah, it seems like we've got some really good.
That's what
racing
happens
lined
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
you get to spring and summer,
yeah,
and the fall too. I mean,
and
it's
when you circle the country and get all the good tracks, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And we become very knowledgeable of many tracks that we never thought that we ever even handicapped before, just by doing this. It's a great thing.
we still got tracks we haven't gotten to. We're
Yeah,
going
it's
to go
true.
to
Yeah,
Evangeline Downs now, so
yeah.
eventually, I mean, we've never done Golden Gate,
And there's some new tracks that came out too right now.
Emerald Downs,
Will
and some
Rogers.
some other tracks that would
Oh.
really be nice to get into if we could, but we'll see.
Some tracks I can't even pronounce, like Monubi Valley or something.
Mahoning Valley.
Yeah,
Mahoney. Yeah,
Mahoning Valley.
The tournament has certainly broadened our horizons as far as horse
Yes, it
racing is
has.
concerned.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it. I want to tell you guys it was very exciting, even though I'm sitting down here at fourth place, just staring up the whole tournament. It seems like, but it is exciting to watch Steve and Ray going at it up there at the top. I'll see if I can pass Joe over this weekend, so at least we can have an entertaining conversation on that long drive home from Arcadia tomorrow. Anybody got anything they want to say before we go ahead and sign off for this very first tournament of the year?
Well, kudos to
Watch the
Steve
next show.
because
I'm
I
coming
said
for you, Ray.
kudos to Steve because he's had actually more winners than me and he's won more. I might have had a couple of big horses, but I've been going blank the last few weeks. So, you know, you gotta be consistent. And he's been consistent.
I wouldn't blink early
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
so you know.
So I need dollars. That's all I need. So, all right, let's go. We
For those of you, if you
good luck.
enjoyed the show and you enjoy what we're doing here, go ahead and check right back in. There's going to be one more episode tonight. It's called Pick Four Wars. It's a completely different format. Same four analysts, same four players, all going at it. But we're coming right back in just a few minutes. Ray, Joe, Steve, I say it every week. It is always a pleasure to handicap with the three of you.
Yes, it is.
Likewise. It's always fun.
My name is Rich Sharp. The show's called Tournament Horse Racing. It's brought to you by Broke Guys Handicapping. Hey, everybody, good night. Good luck.